उसके बाद जैसे ही आते रहेंगे मैं बीच में उनको ज्वाइन कराती रहूंगी, ठीक है?
राइट।
ओके, सो गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबडी।
ठीक है खुशी जी, मैंने कर दिया इसको।
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the session for 11 December, that is Introduction to TBI and Startup Activities in NSUT. So before moving further, I'll just give you a little brief introduction about the person who's going to chair the session, followed by an expert session. So as and when the expert session begins, I will give the brief introduction about him then. Meanwhile, I shall introduce you to Mr. Dheeraj Kumar, who is the CEO of NSUT IIF. Dheeraj ji is an entrepreneur, mentor, technical expert, and an innovative problem solver. He is founder of Design Technologies Private Limited, a leading IT consulting company in India, helping several corporate clients with his services. His expertise lies in entrepreneurial ventures, design thinking, and techno business innovation. In his current stint, he is also leading NSUT IIF, a government funded incubator for nurturing upcoming startups. He started his career in IT industry at CDOT and then went on to work for companies like ST Microelectronics, Connect Stent Systems, Synopsys, Cadence, alongside design. Dheeraj is the vice president at Veda Krishna Foundation, where he focuses on social impact projects. With a varied exposure across domains and industries, Dheeraj brings a unique blend of approaches to problem solving. And alumnus of UCLA, IIT Delhi, and NSIT itself, Dheeraj is a qualified mountaineer and a passionate nature lover. So, welcome here, Mr. Dheeraj, and over to you now.
Thank you, Astha. Thank you, Astha, for the nice introduction, and a warm welcome to all the students who are joining NSUT now. I'm extremely grateful to NSUT management, professors, and the Vice Chancellor for giving me this opportunity to talk with prospective students on behalf of university and on behalf of your own alma mater. I welcome you to NSUT. So today I'll be briefly talking about the Techno Business Incubator program, which is based out of the university. Since I am heading it right now, so we will be briefly talking about what the overall organization is like, what all facilities are available, and then if time permits, we will be even taking some questions from you guys. Also, we would try that some of our existing incubating companies and the founders representing them, of course, they are our own alma mater. I would request them to join in, and hopefully, a couple of them will be joining in and sharing their story. What their engagement has been so far with TBI. So let me just briefly touch upon what sort of incubation facilities are available at the institute. Let me just share my screen. Is my screen visible, Astha?
Yeah, it is visible.
Oh, okay. So the Techno Business Incubator, as many of you must be aware, that the Government of India has a lot of focus over entrepreneurship, and specifically within institutes which are providing higher engineering, which are into higher engineering education or into management programs. This is a focus of Government of India as well as several other bodies like MHRD, AICT, to have business incubators within such institutes. So NSUT also around October of 2016, came up with this incubator, and the incubator is basically NSUT IIF, which stands for NSUT, which is Netaji Subhash University of Technology, Incubation and Innovation Foundation. So this is what our organization kind of stands for. We do provide mentoring support, seed grant support. So our seed grant of up to 7.5 lakhs is given to the entrepreneurs who are basically incorporating their companies. There are pre-incubation facilities also available, wherein if you have certain ideas to play around, you can come to us and we can give you funding up to 1 lakh rupees as per the Government of India's guideline, and you can play around, tinker around with your ideas. You can just create early stage prototypes also. several other support in terms of mentoring, in terms of exposure towards market linkages, growth stage, acceleration. Everything is provided actually at this particular stage. Then once you have incorporated, once you have a MVP available with you, then of course various other opportunities are also provided, in which we try to connect you with the angel investors and capital venture capital fund houses also, whenever you are at that particular stage in terms of your startup journey. In terms of various other initiatives taken under the incubation center, uh, which are again driven by MHRD, AICT, and UGC. Uh, NSUT-IIF on behalf of NSUT does participate in various government ranking frameworks. Like very recently, we were ranked under Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements as fifth under the overall state government funded universities within India. So there were like around multiple thousands of institutes and universities which participated across India, which were state funded universities or institutions, and NSUT was ranked fifth among all of them. So all those things, we do keep participating in terms of our activities and in terms of our reporting to the various government bodies. uh, Apart from that, under the aegis of AICT and MHRD, we do conduct a lot of internal hackathons. There are a lot of e-learning opportunities available for entrepreneurship, innovation, design thinking, and so on and so forth. In coming days, you will be seeing, as you become part of the university, and as you are onboarded actually going forward, you will be receiving a lot of other updates from our side, wherein we will be kind of conducting a lot of idea generation workshops. We will be conducting a lot of design thinking workshops, problem framing workshops, so that you can tinker around whatever new ideas you bring along, or just to kind of give you a framework using which you can kind of look at things from a entrepreneurial perspective, wherein the internal problem solver of yours. Engineers are supposed to solve problems, real world problems. So those are the kind of things you will start hearing all those buzz. And apart from that, you will also get an opportunity to interact with existing incubating companies also, who are doing a wonderful job, not only in terms of the kind of problems they are trying to solve, but also the kind of impact they are having on the business ecosystem as well as the social ecosystem. So if the time permits, I'll introduce you to a couple of our incubatees who are specifically trying to create unique solutions. Then on the club side, there are various other clubs which are again putting in a lot of effort towards entrepreneurship in parallel to what we are doing within incubation center. So just to kind of make you aware of those clubs, there is a E cell, there is a EDC cell actually. Then there are student bodies which are effectively run by students, like Enactus is one of them. So any of you, I mean, who is willing to join any of these student bodies, you can simply go over LinkedIn and search for Enactus or NSUT eCell or EDC. You will get their social media handles, and then you can get in touch with the respective people who are running these student clubs. In terms of outreach programs and other initiatives, these are a couple of them which I have listed here. Uh, this is just to let you know how NSUT-IIF is organized. So our parent body is NSUT, which is a university. While we at NSUT-IIF, we are a non-profit. We are a Section 8 company. This is our certificate of incorporation. So we in a way we are a parallel entity, but university being our host institute and a parent body, but we are a separate entity which is effectively a non-profit organization. Currently, these are the directors within this Section 8 company. We have two independent directors, and rest of the board is led by uh, the faculty from NSUT. headed by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mr. J.P. Seni. This is the executive team right now. So again, we have our Honorable Vice Chancellor as the chairman of the board, and then we have Professor Prerna Gaur, who is member secretary and director. Professor M.P.S. Bhatia, he is also a director. Professor Vijender Singh, he is also a director within this board. And on the executive side, on the execution side, I am myself part of the execution team. In terms of support, now many of you would be interested to kind of understand, see, at the end of the day, it is about creating your own story, and I believe any course actually which you take up at this particular point of time, be it you would have gone for a BBA or a MBA or if you have joined BTech or any other course actually. So this is once you are out of school, once you enter a higher educational institute, actually it is in a way kind of a beginning of your own story writing. So this is a avenue, this particular course should be taken as a avenue to write your own story. So the keyword which I would like to, or the key mantra I would like to give to you guys today, looking back at when in 1998 when I entered the institute, so kind of what I feel is that uh, NSUT, or back then it was NSIT, it has become a part of my story. It is a huge contributor towards what I am today. So in a way, the buzzword would be today, if I would like to give it to you, is to create your own story. So think of the kind of opportunities that are available through whatever infrastructure is available within university, or through this incubation program. Think of it in terms of what story you want to create for yourself. Is entrepreneurial path for yourself? Are you a problem solver? Are you somebody who looks out at the world and says, why it doesn't happen this way? So if you have that perspective at looking at things, that why people are not doing things this way, while people are facing a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, and today, while we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we still don't know where we are in terms of uh, I would say, it's just the beginning of the end, and nobody knows where the end is going to be. So if you are someone who looks at things and kind of wonders at time why it is not being done this way, so if you are that change maker, then I believe that there will be a lot of avenues available within NSUT, and particularly at NSUT IF, we will be ready to support you there. We will be ready to listen with your ideas, what your views are. If you have some sort of a idea to tinker with, feel free to reach out to us. In terms of support and intervention that we have taken, if I briefly summarize in terms of outreach activities, we there are a lot of electives that are available around entrepreneurship, so you will get to do those courses also. Then under normal situations, we used to have business conclaves, e-summits, and then various technical societies within the university itself used to organize a lot of sessions, which will happen eventually. So don't be disheartened. Things will get normal someday. Hopefully around middle of next year, 2021, or whenever it will be. So all those e-summits and technical societies will be organizing seminars and workshops, and all those things will return back to normal. But so far, everything is going online, so there will be a lot of online stuff happening. And in terms of outreach, we do reach out to students for various such initiatives. In terms of support at idea generation stage, we do have a lot of sessions wherein we call industry experts from IoT space, from AI space, AI or ML space, from manufacturing space. So those are like regular expert sessions keep on happening, and we highly encourage students to participate in them. In terms of idea generation, we have taken another initiative in which we do promote people to apply for a pre-incubation. So you have labs available within pre-incubation. You have funding available up to 1 lakh rupees to play around with that particular idea. And at this particular stage, we do conduct a lot of idea generation workshops also. So these are typically 15 to 20 students cohort that we organize, and these 15 to 20 cohort students are basically uh, these students basically come to us. We pick up a problem area or a common problem area, or we kind of organize them around groups, and then let people you know relook at the problem, reframe the problem space, and all those kind of workshops are regular at our incubation center. In terms of helping you out once you have an idea, in terms of helping you out in terms of patent filing, if it is a candidate case for a patent filing, or if some sort of a copyright is to be taken, or some sort of a registration is to be done. So in terms of protecting your IPR rights, we do conduct a lot of seminars. We do help in terms of funding also. If you are going for a patent actually and you want to file it along with the faculty, then there are support in terms of uh, compensation for that monetary expenses, whatever you get to spend actually for that, that can also be refunded. Support for again at POC stage, we have a lot of industry partners. We have a lot of labs within which you can prototype your products. We are actively looking out for industry partners, particularly people coming with the requirements in which they want to kind of prototype something which requires manufacturing support. So we actively connect people with industry partners also. A lot of guidance is available, and that depends case to case what exactly you are trying to manufacture or produce, or if it is a software product, or will it need couple of machines to kind of set up. Will it need cloud infrastructure to kind of set up? That depends upon that. So we do provide a lot of support in terms of providing you AWS credits for hosting and creating your applications, and in terms of connecting with the industry also. In terms of support with R&D infrastructure, we have a partnership with various institutes. Very recently, we are in talk with IIT Kanpur based software technopark, where our students will have access to the technopark facilities, and they'll be getting all those facilities at a subsidized rate. So those kind of initiatives are again taken at the university level, and again NSUT-IIF is a facilitator in all such efforts. In terms of your exposure to innovations and startups, there is a lot of peer-to-peer guidance available. The best thing there is to be connected with the existing incubatees. You can talk to them, you can do internships with them, you can get to understand what their experience has been in terms of raising capital, in terms of creating POCs. And those are really good opportunities where you can practically get internships with them. You can practically get a taste of what it takes to run a startup. In terms of collaborations and tie-up with external organizations, so we have partnership. Very recently, we have entered into partnership with a venture capital firm called Pada Ventures. They are conducting a boot camp program also, which is a 13-week boot camp program for our MBA students, for our budding entrepreneurs, people who have idea and want to take it to the next level in terms of idea validation, in terms of identifying the markets, doing primary market research, and then coming up with a pitch which could be potentially presented before the investors, and then funding could be raised for that. So those sort of just to give you an overview or summarize, what I mean to say here is that at every stage, if you are a problem solver, if you are somebody who wants to kind of take the entrepreneurial pathway, so support is available at every step, not only in terms of funding, which is of course one aspect of it, but at every step of your entrepreneurial journey, support is available. In terms of mentors and experts, there are some mentors and experts who are available on panel actually, while we do engage with a lot of other mentors who are not on panel actually, but can be invited on the basis of your requirement. In terms of societies led by faculties at NSUT, we have around 7 automotive society chapters, 8 literary chapters, 2 social welfare societies, 5 cultural societies, and 8 technical societies, including IEEE. I don't know, like previous speakers must have already touched about it upon this, but there are a lot of societies depending upon your own interest and your own focus area. You can join any of them. So in terms of our USP as a institute, as a host institute, as well as incubation center, I would say the most important USP or our selling point is our competent human resources. We have a lot of subject matter experts, management focused faculty members, who can not only motivate you as a student, but kind of guide you for technical as well as non-technical aspects of your career path also. Priority sector right now, it has been ICT, Internet of Things, assistive technology, AI, ML. All those things are have been the priority sector for the incubation center. But it is not just limited to that. We have startups from agriculture also. We have startups who are into manufacturing also, and there are upcoming startups who are basically coming up with solutions around healthcare, again IoT based solutions. So it's not just the priority sector which is limited uh, to IT or AI/ML or IT related subject areas, but it is quite, it has widened over a period of time now. And very recently we have got a lot of new ideas from biotechnology department. We are kind of, they are in early stage of incubation, so we are getting a lot of traction in those directions also, and those are being kind of encouraged by the vice chancellor also, because those are the upcoming areas, so we are getting a lot of traction from those areas as well. In terms of facilities, at the incubation center we have around 13.5k square feet area which is available, along with conference rooms, meeting rooms, lockable office units, which are available to the incubatees, recreational areas, cafeterias, and all those facilities are available in terms of creating your own office space, entertaining your clients, and kind of conducting your day-to-day business activities. In terms of financial resources, we provide, as I told you earlier, we provide funding up to 1 lakh for pre-incubation stage, and then for incubation stage we provide funding up to 7.5 lakhs in lieu of a certain percentage of the equity. Now and so far we have received a funding of up to 1.5 crores from government of Delhi, and other funding avenues are also being explored. And hopefully, towards next year or so, we will be getting larger grants from DST, because we are a DST, Department of Science and Technology certified incubator. So kind of more things are coming, and as more we receive more funds from government of India, it will be kind of invested into creating better infrastructure for you guys to explore the entrepreneurial pathway. Apart from the financial resources, in terms of institutional support, we have access to all the other bodies which are technical as well as non-technical bodies within hosted within NSUT. Labs are available, and to we have larger access to the entire ecosystem available around university also. In terms of numbers, I would say we have already 16 incubated startups who are at various stages of incubation. Some of them have already graduated. Some of them are being onboarded. We have currently a cohort of around 30 startups which is going on. Of course, this will be concluding somewhere around middle of February or so. So we will be onboarding many more actually. So it won't be a surprise that by next February or March, we will be having a number which will be twice of what we are having on the slides today. In terms of lab infrastructure, because this is very important, particularly for people coming up with the technical products, product ideas which require validation, or kind of lab infrastructure to validate those ideas. So we have over around 16 advanced lab infrastructure available within NSUT, and of course, that's being the host institute. Those kind of services are available to the incubatees as well. So these are just to kind of share with you. This is our incubation center. It is housed at the fourth floor. over the library block. I don't know like how many of you have been able to kind of visit the campus as of now, but I think even if you have not, I really hope and wish that you will be doing it pretty soon. So we are housed at fourth floor over a library block. This is how it looks like. So these are the lockable units I was talking about. So as a incubating company, you can take up these lockable office spaces, and you can basically basically house your interns, your employees, and create your own office spaces. These spaces are available at a subsidized rate, which is highly subsidized as compared to what you would be getting in Delhi or an area like Dwarka. These spaces are highly subsidized. They come along with your power backup, your centralized air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and everything is available within that. So if you look in terms of the facility, it's highly subsidized, as well as it's managed by the university or the incubation center itself. So you don't need to worry about your office maintenance and other stuff, and just focus on business. These are a couple of snaps from our inauguration, and we were our TBI was inaugurated by Honorable Deputy CM Delhi. That was back in October of 2016, and then we were fortunate enough to kind of host several other people, right from across India, across Silicon Valley. So we are fortunate to kind of have our own alma mater spread across the globe. So this kind of this kind of led to this early creation of an environment which is vibrant in terms of the participation of students, as well as a lot of other initiatives taken at our end also. So just to kind of share with you a couple of names, like very recently one of our incubatee, which is Al Nourish. They are into creating products for healthy lifestyles. They graduated successfully from our incubation center, and they were able to raise a first round of funding, which was 350,000 USD was what was raised. Similarly, we had a lot of other, successful graduations from Tripose. Another one is Reader's Grip, EdzoFit. All of them actually kind of graduated from our end, uh, and they are kind of, taking their entrepreneurial journey to the next step. In terms of, what they do, it is right from, mm, uh, uh, healthy lifestyle product to somebody who is working on a social media product, somebody who is working on a drone based solution, while one of our incubating company named Bonfarmo, hopefully their founder will be joining us pretty soon, uh, is working on a bud chipper for sugarcane, which is going to kind of help the sugarcane farmer to come up with better yield, and will save a lot of sugarcane for them. So again, not only creating a product which is business viable, but this product is having a social impact also. So right from agri-tech to drones to health care to social networks, everything is being done within the incubation center. So this is briefly about what we do here, and uh, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions if we are getting any questions. So Asta, do we have any questions, or
See, what you can do is that usually what happens is there might be some sort of FAQs which you might receive on a regular basis. So if
okay,
there are some FAQs that you're aware of that you can take up right now.
okay, okay. Okay, so typically, so I'll start with the first question, which I have often received from people, and it might appear for many people while we approach them, while we approach students, specifically students. Uh, there are two set of students. One is who come up with their own problem areas, they have their own ideas, and then there is a set of students who are equally enterprising, who wants to do something, but they come up with a question that, how do I come up with an idea, right? So it's again a big question, in itself. If you have an idea, of course, you can work upon it, but what about those people who are wondering, what the idea should be, because sometimes, it's there is a quest within you that you want to do something, you want to be the change maker, you are really excited about doing something which will not only impact the business aspect of things, but the social aspect of things. And the first question at times, that I have faced from many of them is, sir, how do I come with an idea? So, which is a very interesting question in that sense, because there are two aspects with which you can look at it. uh, some people believe that, entrepreneurs are born, and it is something which is innate within you, and then you kind of, hone over it actually. While, I believe it is true both ways. Of course, there are some innate qualities with which you are born, and you have a unique perspective of looking at things. But at the same time, there are some things which you can learn also. So it is not an art, it is probably a process actually. If you follow, then of course, there is a way out with that process also. So typically what I share with thing as if you want to be someone who want to kind of, look at things and come up with ideas, why don't we do this, why don't we do that? So in order to kind of, it's more of a habit actually. So I believe that it is a perspective with which you look at things, and secondly, putting that particular perspective of looking at things in your habit. So it is kind of, bringing that perspective within your habit, so that you kind of naturally look at things from that particular perspective, which is to identify, the pain points, or to kind of, empathize with people around you. So the key to this thing is empathy, because sometimes, you will face some problems within your own life, and you will be motivated to solve them. One way of looking at things. But that is your own problem. Like, say, suppose if I am a student, and I am living in a campus which is a huge campus, maybe like NSUT or IIT Delhi, or any other campus actually. And the pain point for me is to get from my hostel room to the classroom in the most efficient way. While my campus, I can't afford to have a car or a bike, maybe even bike also, or maybe my campus doesn't allow, because of the green initiatives and all, doesn't allow me to keep a bike or something like that. Or even if they allow, your kind of, your own perspective doesn't let you kind of, increase your carbon footprint. So that is a problem faced by you. Now you have to look at this particular problem, because you will be looking at this particular problem because you are yourself facing it. And then you can imbibe a habit of, coming up uh, uh, with such problems. And then, in your own space, in your own time, think about what are the possible solutions for such a scenario. Can we have something which is accessible, like a e-bicycle or a e-scooter, or some sort of a ride sharing kind of an app, or something which will have very lesser impact on environment, but at the same time can provide me a means to go from point A to point B within my own campus. Trust me, many students are working on that. So we have a startup named Wheelbox actually, which is looking at that particular problem. So that's a problem which probably a student face themselves, that it's a huge campus. They need to quickly go from their hostel room to the class. If you are getting ready just 5 minutes before a class, and you need to reach from your hostel to your classroom, then probably, you need to have an efficient means of doing so, right? So that is one way of that you experience the problem yourself, and then you kind of, understand the problem from a user perspective, because you are yourself facing it, and then you come up with a solution. Another perspective of looking at this idea generation is to, what if, you could put yourself into other person's shoes. You are a student today, but tomorrow probably you will be you will be a homeowner. Tomorrow you will be a parent also. So this particular concept of getting into the other person's shoes and looking at life or day-to-day activities from their perspective, understanding their problems, looking at their problems from their perspective, and then coming up with a solution is one of the key things. It is one of the very important characteristics of an entrepreneur. So somewhere I believe that some people are innately empathetic actually, so they can innately get into somebody else's shoes, and they can understand, or they have that eye for looking out for what is the problem in this person's life, or how I can kind of contribute to make his or her life better. So this is something which probably I believe can be learned, can be practiced, and can be put into practice by utilizing your normal habit forming kind of techniques that are available. So bring all those things within your way of looking at life, not only your own life, but at other people's life also. And there you will see, you will start finding millions of problems around the world which could be solved. And then you pick up one, and then you start kind of doing your own research over it. And of course, this journey within NSUT will give you a lot of avenues to kind of play around with such things. So this is one of the FAQs that mostly people ask: how to come up with an idea, which on the surface of it might appear stupid, oh, because what we have been taught is that idea is something all of a sudden someday some bulb somewhere flashes, and then the some apples kind of fall off your head actually, and then you suddenly get an idea. No, it's not like that. Probably people who have kind of had those kind of intuitions also were knowingly unknowingly following this process of looking at their own life or other people's life with a certain empathy. Empathy is, that is, you try to look at life from their perspective, sometimes your own perspective. And of course, with your own perspective, again, things are limited, because we are living only a limited portion of whatever exposure we are getting. So I'll say, kind of inculcate that particular habit. Don't be carried with this particular kind of cliched notion that entrepreneurs are born, or they have this innate capability within them. I believe it can be learned. Now I think we have our incubatees. We have our first incubate team with us. I'll briefly introduce them, and then I'll let them talk about their startup. So we have Mayank and Priyam Maheshwari with us. Guys, you can mute yourself. So we have Priyam and Mayank with us. Mayank and Priyam, both of them are our own alumni. Priyam has just passed out, while Mayank is from 2012 batch, and they are working on a very good product, which is, again, I was talking about Bonfarmo. So they represent Bonfarmo. They are the founders, and they are working for a product for agri-tech space. So which is not only a business viable product, but it has a social impact also. So I'll welcome Mayank and Priyam to this talk today, and I'll let them talk about their business venture and how their journey has been. Mayank and Priyam.
Thank you, Dheeraj sir, for introducing us, and welcome everyone. I'm really glad to be here. Myself, Priyam Maheshwari, and I have my co-founder, Mr. Mayank Jain, with me. About Bonfarmo, we are basically a innovation-driven startup, and we make engineered products which bring value to the agriculture chain. Agri, yeah, sure, sir. Hi, sir. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting at a proper location. But as I was saying, So we came up with this idea 3 to 4 years back. I was in my second year when I had a project idea with a batchmate of mine in mechanical engineering. So his father used to do farming basically in Bulandshahr area in UP, and he told me that there are a lot of losses and lot of seed losses in agriculture, in specifically in sugarcane farming in that area. So that's how we came up with this idea. We knew the problem statement, so we built upon that idea, and 2 years later, in my fourth year, I and Mr. Mayank, we started this startup named Bonfarmo, where our first product was focused on reducing the seed plantation cost in sugarcane, and increase the productivity by 20% in sugarcane cultivation. So recently, our first product uh, became marketable, and we were able to sell a few machines to a number of innovators and as well as organizations. So we are still receiving orders. Currently, through our machine, we are able to save 60% seed cost in sugarcane. So our idea was to start with the AI technology and image processing technology, where we could basically extract the seeds out of the sugarcane and then use those seeds for direct plantation in these fields. That's how we were able to save the labor cost as well as transportation cost as well. Over time, while we were incubated at NSIT-IF and NSUT-IF and Pusa Krishi Incubator. Hi, is my voice audible?
Yeah, Priyam, you are audible. Please go ahead.
So, over time, while we were incubated at NSUT-IF and Pusa Krishi Incubator, which is located at Rajendra Place metro station. So we gathered new insights on how to approach to customers, since farmers are our basic customers as well as sugar mills. But how to change the practice, how to actually bring revolution to the practice they have already been doing for so many years. So that's the challenge right now that we face over time. And now, after a couple of field trials in the state of Madhya Pradesh. We went to a district there named Narsinghpur uh, with our machine. So basically, our machine is quite a big machine, and we traveled by our Innova car. We took our team, and it was a good road trip. But overall, a big learning experience for us, because we are engineers, and this was the first time that we were moving our product and finally testing it with the end users. And we received a lot of feedbacks for the product, and finally our product became ready to use for market after. So if you realize the projects that we do during college, think of them as a market potential. Like, are these projects going to actually impact the lives, the social lives of people, or are we just wasting our resources, wasting our time to create any other project that would still be inside the college level only? So we kept on improving our product, and now, since we have a semi-automatic machine with us right now, we are trying to improve. We are trying to uh, gather more understanding and gather more expertise around how to make this machine fully automatic and remove labor engagement at all. Mayank sir, will you like to add anything?
Yes,
Yeah,
man, please.
yeah, yeah, sure. Sir. Thank you, Priyam, for giving me
for handling. Yeah, thank you, Dheeraj sir and Manushil sir for this opportunity. And so I would just little bit talk about what Priyam was telling. So it was not from the idea of Born Farmo, but how we do things, and particularly what has been our motivation while around all this work. So we always take engineering as a tool, as a skill set, where we have to apply it in different domains. And as Priyam was telling about how our journey at Bonfarmo began, and it started just as a college final year project, and eventually it has been turned into a startup and a company. So we constantly look for market potential and business opportunities. So for me particularly, how uh, uh, how I see college projects, or how I see engineering life, what we do at campus. So it's a very good igniter, and it always gives you immense opportunities to challenge oneself critically. And you always have to be mindful of the fact that whatever we are doing at the campus, whatever time we are spending, we put it to good use. There are a lot of opportunities and resources which are available. For example, in last couple of years, there has been a lot of shift in coming up with technology challenging projects which would be beneficial for different stratas of society, and which are not solely focusing upon high tech technologies just like aeroplanes, or just fast moving things, or just app based thing. But we have also expanded our horizon over how to do things in low tech or domains where impact is much more. And that is something which is coming right now from campus. And I myself, being alumnus of NSIT, passing way back in 2012, I have seen that in last 3 to 4 years there has been a lot of activities which have started in campus, and which are revolving about challenging oneself critically, and also exploring these domains, or these interlinked domains which have not yet been previously explored. And that is something how we are proceeding at institute level. Coming back to how our startup is performing, what Priyam has told is absolutely true, and what was the genesis about it. And I think we would also like to thank NSUTIF for the opportunity they have provided us by incubating, because it becomes very important to be guided in a right way, particularly for anybody who is coming out of campus and who is full of energy and zeal, to guide them in a right way, to move them into a right direction, and and help them in coming with things, and keeping and tackling challenges from the world. That is something what NSIT has been instrumental in, providing support to the new entrepreneurs who are developing themselves on campus. And what I have seen as a shift, particularly coming from a hardcore branch like manufacturing, processing, and automation, uh, what at our time we have always thought about, and or always argued about, was that we haven't been given much exposure about different domains, the challenging domains. We always talked about cars and automation of things, but we never explored agriculture as an domain. But when people started exploring agriculture as a domain, we were able to find that engineering is the complementary, is the most suitable fit for agriculture innovations. And that is something that has opened the road for campus students also to look into new lighting, and to look from fresh perspective how things are coming. And I think here what campus life, having a good campus life, good interactions, healthy and mind and healthy discussions, and challenging oneself technologically and critically, has contributed to each one of us, and particularly to Priyam and the rest of the teammates. Because I'm more than happy to tell you that Bonfarmu right now comprises of 4 engineers. They are all NSIT graduates, and 2 of them are working full time with Bonfarmu. So that is something what campus life has impacted, how campus life has impacted them, and given them food for thought to work hard, to strive towards development and serve society also. But yes, you always have to be mindful of the fact that innovation and sustainability comes hand in hand, and that is something is what we are constantly striving while working closely with the NSUT community. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mayank. I mean, it's really wonderful knowing about the startup and the activities, and also it gives me a lot of joy that you have not only become a entrepreneur, but you have become a job creator also along the way. And so it gives us a huge privilege in that sense of becoming a part of this particular journey, where one of our alma mater is coming back to the institution and then hiring more upcoming engineers actually, and making them part of their own venture. So which gives us kind of it is much more joyful and proud moment for us also. One question, because I am just taking FAQs also during this discussion itself. So one of the questions was around how do we generate ideas. One of the other question, I keep on, a lot of people, who interact with me during these idea generation workshops is how to find a co-founder. So this is for Mayank and Priyam, how did you guys, kind of, manage to find each other, or the rest of the co-founders? So any interesting story around that, or you would like to share something around that? How can one, I have a great idea, but of course, a great idea needs a great team to execute it. So how does one, find a co-founder?
Hi, maybe I can take up this question. So I was the one approaching Mr. Mayank, and it was during the alumni meet that our college organizes. And since Mayank sir was 6 years elder to me, and I was just a passionate innovator back then, and I casually went on this alumni meet that day, and for the first time, I heard him on the stage of how he was impacting the lives in agriculture domain. He was a pass out of MPA branch from NSIT, so I could connect well. And during the dinner time, I casually had a chat with him that we were looking for a support on this kind of machine, and I had the design ready for the machine. So we had a small discussion. He asked me about the potential, and that's how we came up. That's how we came in touch. Actually, over time, we connected back and forth, and I realized that every time I connected with him, because he was already in this field for 5 to 6 years, every time I connected, I learned something new. So I was a college student back then, and Mayank sir was an alumni. So basically, when already you are uh, in this domain for some time, you actually need a co-founder, need someone who is already familiar of the domain that you want to work in.
Right. So networking is the key, right? So I believe university will provide a lot of opportunities wherein not only your current batchmates, your seniors, you will get to interact with your seniors, alumni also during various other alumni meet initiatives also. So I believe networking is the key. So somewhere finding a co-founder is somewhat similar to finding a life partner, because there are a lot of similarities. There are a lot of similar stuff happening there. Business partners they also need to have a lot of understanding. They need to have coherence in terms of thought process, where they want to take the business ahead, as you would expect from a life partner to kind of take your life to the next step. So I believe networking is the key, and then being open minded and finding people who are kind of trying to work around the same space is the key. And I believe university will provide you a lot of such opportunities to kind of interact with the students from within university. And also there are a lot of student exchange programs in which you will get to interact with students from other colleges and other institutions also. So and then some of these incubating companies have founders actually who happen to be faculty also. So sometimes you will find idea which you would like to work with some sort of an advanced researcher who might be your faculty also, so they can also be part of the founding team. So that is how you kind of look around that. uh, One
I
last,
think, sir,
yeah.
sir, just to add, so idea generation at campuses. I think that the time at campus is one of the most beautiful time you have in your lifetime, and one thing which everyone needs to be critically aware of is that just try to get outside of your comfort zone there. So
Right.
one just if one just try to spend time or think कि यार हम 4 साल हैं and then we will spend our time and then pass out eventually and take
Right.
up a job, that's not how ideas are generated. So you have to challenge yourself critically in the campus, utilize that time, as Priyam and Dheeraj sir has also suggested, network with people. So if you have an idea, just discuss it with people. ये मत सोचो कि यार लोग चुरा लेंगे,
Right.
because ideas क्या होते हैं, ideas आते रहते हैं. It's very difficult to keep that energy, and consistency is the key. So
Right.
if you have an idea, be open to discuss it with your faculty members, with your close friends and everyone, or your faculties particularly, and then try to develop it. It's not कि आपके पास idea आ गया, तो idea is not the only thing. You have to have a lot of skills and everything there. And I think just get out of your comfort zone, experiment, don't be afraid to fail. That is the key, and that is how you should utilize your time at campus. I think it will be a great learning for future also.
Right. Right. Mayank and Priyam, one quick last question. This is again about the idea generation part. How did you guys, what is your story behind? How did you guys came up with this idea to work for this specific machine? Of course, I know that you are working on several other products actually, because with your engineering background, with your manufacturing background, you are thinking about creating impact in other domains as well. But how did you guys, two of you, students from a high tech institute, how did you get this idea, kind of getting into the shoes of a farmer? What is the story behind it?
So, actually, in my third year, I would say, there was a batchmate with me whose father was a farmer. So we used to take up projects under Mr. Pradeep Khanna sir. He's a very decorated professor in NSIT from MPAE branch, and we used to work on different projects under him. And I especially had a keen interest on making projects which would be impactful. It can be simple to innovate, but it should have a big impact. So when my friend, his name was Manish Yadav, he came to me, and we used to live in hostel together. So he told me that his father used to face a lot of problem while farming in sugarcane and sugarcane fields, and he used to tell me about the losses that have been happening. So basically, it's again the first step. If someone discusses that idea with you, he's basically trying to validate his thought process. Now, when that particular person discussed with me, I was able to suggest him a few solutions, like what we can do. But again, we didn't have enough expertise to carry it forward. So we took it to a couple of professors at NSIT, and that's how we started believing that yes, this can be achievable. Now again, uh, all of this was happening inside the campus only. So again, we needed someone who had some knowledge of the domain as well. Actually, is this something that has been happening all around India, all around the world? Is this a common practice, or is it just Manish's father is doing this? So that's how you develop your idea. It's just a common statement. It can be through a YouTube video, maybe, or any technology video, any upcoming technologies. You try to figure out how that particular machine is working, or how that particular uh, solution can take place. But again, you have to validate that idea first. So it's actually a three-step process. Start a conversation with somebody, validate your idea by talking to more people, and then finally validation takes place at the domain level, the person who is expert in that level, in that domain.
Right, right. So again, thanks, Priyam, for sharing that. So it is, as you see, it is again, you had a friend whose father is a farmer. Then you get to kind of, look at his life and the way he is doing things and identifying the problems that they are facing during agriculture. So you don't need to be a farmer to solve farmers' problem, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So it is more of empathy. I mean, you get into other person's shoes and then kind of look at their lives from their perspective, and then coming back to your own perspective and look, knowing with your own capabilities, with your own technical understanding, what solutions you can propose for them. So I believe it is more of a habit, and that is how I believe, Priyam, you must have come up with new product ideas also later on, right?
Right, right.
Right. So guys, this is a process. This is not something that is कि इधर से एकदम से कुछ हुआ, यूरेका moment आया, and then so it's more of, it becomes a, and once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. So I think that is more of a habit forming. And now, thanks, Mayank and Priyam, for sharing your thoughts on this. I'll quickly move on to one of other incubators, Aditya Anand. Welcome, Aditya. Aditya is representing DATSME. DATSME is basically trying to create a social media network with a difference. And I'll let him talk about his venture. Welcome, Aditya.
Very good afternoon, Dheeraj sir, and thank you so much for having me. Before starting, I would just like to say that these are my favorite questions, so I
Right.
would love I love to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Talking about right, I can just give me a minute, okay?
Yeah, Aditya, take your time. Yeah. Right. I think people will be much more kind of able to relate once they see you live. So, so Aditya has been working on this startup called DeadsMe. They have been incubated within TBI, and they'll be pretty soon. They'll be graduating also. There is a tenure of around 2 years plus 1 years that we give to all these incubating companies. So they will be completing their tenure, and they are at a very crucial juncture in their startup journey, wherein they are now actively looking for funding from investors also. And TBI is actively kind of supporting them to kind of reach out to this next milestone in their startup journey. Yes, we have Aditya with us. Yeah, Aditya, please continue. So Aditya must be there in his workspace right now, right?
Yes, personalized workspace. Yes, sir.
Personalized workspace, yes. So
Yes.
Aditya, please go ahead. You were sharing about DatsMe. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So DatsMe is a social media platform based on psychology to help you find compatible friends nearby. Now, while learning the ways of this world, being a youth who's seeing and going through everything, I saw that the world was heading more towards likes and followers and more on outer beauty. So we wanted to create a meaningful social media platform that would help people connect on the basis of mindset, compatibility, and similar interests between them. Because we found that even backed up by research, there was a US based psychologist, Shasta Nelson. So she conducted a survey of 10,000 people. And from this survey, the main question, one question that was asked from everyone, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied you based on the closeness of your friendships? And up to 60% people reported a 5 or below. There were so many social media platforms out there, but we saw that something was still missing. And what was missing was meaning. Thus, we created a psychological questionnaire and algorithm, and using this algorithm, people can connect on the basis of compatibility. Now, this questionnaire, this algorithm that we've created, this has been tested over thousands of individuals, and after getting lots of successful results, that is when the algorithm was integrated into the platform. So our main purpose is to create real and meaningful connections. With that, yes.
So Aditya, just to briefly kind of, touch upon your startup journey, how does this idea, I mean, where does the idea come from?
Okay, so the idea came originally from Sushant. Now we both go way back. So being an SUT student myself, I was a hostler, and when I was in the first day of my college, so I was sitting and having lunch alone, and Sushant comes up to me, and we started talking. I realized that we were also from the same demographic. So this is how we started. He's not only my partner, but my first friend from NSUT also. Then as we spent time, we started really small actually. We worked on different other small ventures initially, and after that, this idea came to Sushant, just like I told you. And when I heard about this idea about meaningful connections, I realized that this is something that I've personally faced in life. Because when we were in school, Dheeraj sir, everybody was under a uniform. So at that time, meaningful connections mattered, the real you mattered. As we grow up, we see that life works differently. And we were looking for the real thing. Thus, we believe that startup is the way when you have to make impact on a great level very fast. That is why we decided to go with this idea, and I wanted to help Sushant on this journey.
Great, great. So again, the key is, a founder is a friend actually. So if a founder could be a friend actually, it's not necessary that always a founder will be your friend. Sometimes they will be your colleagues, sometimes they will be your mentors also, sometimes they'll be your
Definitely.
teachers also. But it's really wonderful to have a friend as a founder also, because then you can fight and then you can make up, and then it's a different sort of a chemistry there, and those are like more resilient kind of relationships also. uh, one more thing, Aditya, I would like to I'll leave it to you to kind of share your experience. So how your overall experience has been, this startup journey has been, and where are you in your startup journey right now?
Okay, so startup journey, amazing question.
Mm.
So when it's like for startup was me for like jumping into a river and you don't know how to swim, you just have to figure it out. So it was definitely that. I believe that being an entrepreneur, actively learning is most important, and it's really about solving issues. Any kind of query I get, my job is to resolve it as fast as possible, no matter how. I'm a problem solver. So that's how it is for me. My main goal is to solve problems, any problem, any kind of problem, irrespective of domain. So that's how I've made myself. I did not know things before, but yes, I learned it. And considering that I'm a computer science graduate from NSUT, I tried coding and I really liked it also. But I believe that being an entrepreneur, having to work on your own product and startup, it's very changing the kind of work you get, and it's very diverse, which I really loved. And I thought that, yes, this is the thing for me. And like they say, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. That is definitely the case. So when I got into startup, I realized I learned about business. So business for me is give value at a profit. And second, the goal of the goal of business, just like Dheeraj sir you mentioned, is to create jobs. Now we are a startup, we are a growing startup. So for us right now, it's like giving internships out to people. It's not just having work from them, it's giving value out back to the community. So right now we have 300 campus ambassador also. We are seeing that we are giving out internship opportunities, and thus our startup is growing. Startup, the golden formula I would say is idea, team, product, execution, timing, and luck. Now, talking about ideas can initially sound not so good because let's talk about the case of Airbnb. Now, if somebody asks that, strangers would come into my house and stay with me, when the Airbnb team went and pitched, it did not sound like a good idea, just like Paul Graham and at YC tells us in the interviews. But how we all know how that worked out. Talking about the product, I think product earlier, you are a very visionary and creative kind of person. You feel like you are building, this is the next best thing in the world. So I believe that you start with a very creative and visionary approach, but you forget the data is very important. So I would really like to thank NSUT panel also that, from this visionary approach, you also provided us learnings and structure that help us took a structured approach, a data-driven approach. So right now, product for us is first is feedback-driven development, actively talking to our people. Like we have over thousands of feedbacks from our people, users, like what we can do. Then there's research-driven development. Out of 7 million apps on the Play Store, I studied the top 100 social apps, friendship, dating, social platforms. I studied all the UI, all the UX, all the functionalities, all the ideas. I know what's going on in the world. So this, I use research and development into my product. And last is vision-driven development. Like Dheeraj sir, you discussed about the ideas, like ideas that we get. So like we have a common channel, I call it the brainstorms. Okay. So in the brainstorms, what we do is every idea that we get, every like in one day, let's say I'm generating 5 good ideas about the product. So I guess I'm running out of battery. I'll just have to switch off my video, but I'll keep talking. Okay.
Okay.
So talking, just a second. I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
Okay, so talking about the product, it's research-driven, vision-driven, and feedback-driven development. That's where we are standing at product. And talking about the team again. So, Dheeraj sir, I strongly believe that if you have personal foundations, then that is a good way that you can survive. Talking about, like, first of all, let's say 3 co-founders. Let's say that there are 50 important things to do. If I'm one co-founder, I have to do all 50. Now I can choose what I like and split among my other co-founders, and work is less for me. I like what I do, so it works out well. Secondly, storms are definitely going to come. It feels good right now, but it doesn't. Nothing works. There are stages. And at that time, sometimes I'm feeling low, my co-founder motivates me. Sometimes they're feeling low, I motivate them. Personal foundation is very important. And timing, just like I said, timing is also very important, because you have to justify that why this idea is good to work on right now. Why could it not have been done 2 years before, not 2 years after? So that is also very important. And luck, I believe, is a very good factor. It's an important factor. So idea, team, product, execution, timing, luck is my formula that I use, and this is what I would like to pass on. And this is how we started our social media platform. We did not know what was product, what was marketing. It was very new to us. So we learned that when you're starting with the product, now the product is not that good because you've just started, and marketing spend is less. So as your product gets better and better, marketing spend becomes less and less. And that is why big companies like Apple do not have to spend much on marketing. So that is something that I've also learned. And right now, we have around 50,000 people with us soon on our platform. And we are hoping to be a very trending and intellectual community. Our main vision is to become the world's most innovative, intelligent social media platform based on meaning and truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya, and we really wish all the success for you guys. It's a ambitious goal, and we know that you guys can deliver on it. Aditya, one more thing, which many of our, participants in audience would be interested to know. How can, they, if any of them want to kind of, do internship with you, how can these guys, reach out to you and your team?
Right. So the internships that we're offering right now, we're offering 3 internships. One is the Campus Ambassador program, one is the Marketing Intern Profile, and one is the Live project that is specifically designed only for MBAs. It's an R&D profile. So we have application links which I can share, through which people can apply, and we would love to have these people with us, definitely.
They can find you over LinkedIn, or how they can find you?
Yes, definitely. I'm very open to connecting. If somebody connects with me on LinkedIn, I love to reply to all the people.
Right. So guys, you can reach out to them. You can just, go over LinkedIn, and which is again another social media platform for professionals. So you can go there and search for That's Me, DATSME, That's Me, and you will find Aditya and other, all the founders there, under that particular search, and you can reach out to them. Thank you, Aditya. Thanks a lot for sharing your experience with all of us, and we wish you success going ahead.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj sir.
Yeah. So now I would request Astha to introduce Manushil Gupta. and then Manushil will be talking about the next session.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj.
So thank you, Dhiraji, and thank you, Aditya. Thank you, guys. It was lovely. I was listening to everything you guys were saying. It was quite informative, and a lot of people have joined us on YouTube as well. So now moving on, we have Mr. Manushil Gupta who will be taking on your expert session. So just a brief introduction about you, Manushil. Manushil Gupta is the co-founder and CEO of Aspiring Investments Corp and co-founder, director as Software for Education, Entertainment and Training Activities. He has served as South Asia liaison at One Laptop Per Child (OLPC) program, where he acquired a wealth of experience in numerous technical and leadership roles. He worked closely with governments and non-profit organizations in India and Sri Lanka to help build OLPC foundations in these countries. In the social profit sector, he has worked as the Director of Business Development at India School Fund. He has led efforts in developing environment-friendly peer-to-peer software and developed Paint, spreadsheet, and e-book readers for OLPC laptops. He holds a degree in Information Technology Engineering from NSIT. He is a network security and ethical hacking certificate holder and an open source enthusiast. Welcome here, Manushil, and over to you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here at this wonderful venue that we have online this time. And the reason why I say it's a wonderful venue is because the world is moving towards online work. And I personally feel that Dheeraj sir, Aditya, Mayank, and Priyam, they gave fantastic introductions on how you can really do the ideation part, the startup part, and also acquire a whole series of customers in the best possible way. So I think the explanation that they shared was very concise, precise, educative, and thoughtful. And I would like to build on that. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'd like to share more towards what kind of skills you should do in order to get started in terms of doing things. So I would like you to be on the implementation front as soon as you have an idea, because ideas are excellent. I mean, there's no, I would say there's no cutting short on that, but there's no dearth of ideas. And I also believe that it is equally important to be critical about your own ideas. It is equally important to self-reflect on them. And it is also very important when you are in your 4 years to build on skills which are kind of relevant also, and also they help you interact with others. So basically, I personally feel that irrespective of whichever branch you are in, I wish to share that you must and foremost start learning programming. I mean, that's very, very important. And there's a strong reason behind that, because whenever you express yourself, you would need to have some kind of a website, an app, a software, and even if you get started on building on something, so you would like to get some feedback on the work that you do. So I personally am a big believer of do it yourself. And this is what I would like to keep the session on. So I have I've cherry picked a key set of resources for this session and some good opportunities so that, I mean, you have some clarity on, okay, if I learn this particular skill, what are the possible opportunities that I could focus on early before I apply for the incubation center or before I apply to even think of doing a startup. So I'm talking more at the, you can say, the pre-incubation stage and more at the skill development stage where you're still getting started, and or you have done a project and you feel that, okay, there is a possibility to take this forward to the next level. So first of all, I wish to share some of the answers. I'll keep it short, and I'll like to focus on some of the answers that I would like to share specific to the resources that were being asked to Bhatia sir, who in fact gave a wonderful introduction on, I mean, how do we get started in the technical field? So the first thing that one of the parents and some of the kids, they asked is that, I mean, if we wish to get started on web programming, that is both the front end, the back end, as well as the, as you can say, the core technologies that we have in programming, what kind of resources we should look at. So there are a whole plethora of resources, and I'll share a couple of them, a couple of sites, which would be very, very helpful to you in getting started. And we'll then take it forward to the next level. So first of all, I wish to share that the first thing that you need to admire or you need to learn when you get started is that you should try and be a hacker. And hacker does not mean that you are a breaker, which means you're breaking technologies. It means that you can solve a problem in an optimal way. And the first step that I feel that if you would like to get started, when you are you're picking up an idea and you are planning to share it in the open source community, is that you learn Linux operating system. And I have very interestingly Kushil sir with me. I mean, Kushil sir taught us when we joined college in 2004, and he's a fantastic professor. I mean, he shared some very key ideas on being a very do-it-yourself programmer and a do-it-yourself person. And I think because of him, we have some very good contributions in open source by some of my peer friends and even by me. So I'll first like to share with you that all of you should have some understanding of what an operating system is. And you all have learned Windows. I mean, that's fantastic. Some of you might have worked on Mac operating system. But even in these two operating systems, I would like you to have your Linux operating system installed. So you can keep noting down some of these pointers that I'm sharing, and I'll get down now to the main programming point. So in reference to programming, the question or the key resource that I would like all of you to focus on for learning a whole dearth of programming languages, whether it is the front-end language or whether it is a back-end language, or even if it's a middleware language, is w3cschools.com. It's by Carnegie Mellon University. I think it's run by W3C Foundation in conjunction with the Carnegie Mellon, and it's a wonderful resource to get started. And the skills that you learn on the front-end language or the back-end language, it will enable you to build up a simple application which you can share with your peer group, and it will help you bring that idea into, you can say, full live picture. So it will bring, it would be like light, cameras, video on. So it will be that thing for the idea. And I personally have been using W3C Schools ever since I was a student, and I've learned a lot of things from this site. There are a lot of good MOOC courses which are also available. One which is provided by the government of India by the name SWAYAM. So I would definitely like you to check out some of the courses at SWAYAM, and perhaps you would really enjoy, you can say, taking up some of these courses even before they are taught in the class. I think MOOC has given us the capability to be more collaborative with the teacher instead of having it as a one-way traffic. So we used to have, you can say, at our time, MIT OpenCourseWare, which was very popular, and it was very much used for algorithm subject. But now we have a whole series of programs, starting with SWAYAM, then you have edX, Coursera, Udemy, Udacity, and also we have some of the, you can say, separate kind of sites which target learning or project-based learning techniques. So they're more focused on constructionist learning techniques. I'll share one of those sites which will enable you to understand what I'm referring to. So one is the technique of instructional design, which means that something that you learn in class, you have a reference book or a reference material or a method to kind of collaborate with the bigger community. And I personally feel that SWAYAM, edX, Coursera, these are the sites which can help you kind of enhance or be kind of cooperative with what is taught in all the other institutions. So SWAYAM has a lot of resources and courses in that area. The second is more directed towards project-based learning. So a lot of you have done your 11th and 12th standard in sciences. Some of you are also joining in different other departments, and you might not have taken up sciences. So there's a wonderful resource which I wish to share with you. It's a wonderful lab which is run in Boston, and it focuses on open source programming and open source development. The name of the lab is Sugar Labs. Interestingly, it's been run by a group of scientists from MIT and Harvard University. And they really, what they do is that whatever you have learned till 12th standard, they create software projects on it. So, and also hardware projects, and even hardware software projects. So if you are an electronics engineer, you are an instrumentation control engineer, mechanical engineer, I mean, all branches they cover up. And what they do is that they say that, okay, if you have to reflect on the things, the skills that we learn in class, and we have to kind of balance it out with practicing software. So Sugar Labs is the, I would say, the program that I would like all of you to look at. And by the way, there's one more point which I wish to add over here, that if you check out Sugar and you get it on your system, which is, so it is built on top of Fedora, which is Red Hat Linux. Red Hat Linux is an interesting open source distribution system. And what you can do is a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, you can do collaborative learning, you can do project-based learning, you can do game-based learning. So if you are interested in developing games for learning subjects, so you can do that. And similarly, if you are interested in working with all kinds of sensors and oscilloscopes, so you can integrate your projects with using Sugar Labs. So you can integrate your software or application with Sugar Labs using the set of APIs that they provide. So I just wish to share briefly about Sugar Labs. I would like you to check out the site of Sugar Labs. And if you have any questions related to it, I'll be even happy to connect you. I mean, you can always get in touch with me. via LinkedIn or via email. So this is this is one of the core things which I thought I'll share with you. Then there was one more question which was being asked to us on how do we get started. I mean, if you wish to interact with the incubation center, which is very interestingly run within the NSUT premises, as Dheeraj sir pointed out. I mean, what's the way to bootstrap the effort? I mean, what all do we need to do? So I think NSUT IF website is a very good resource for the same. So I would definitely like you to check out the nsutif.in website. And I think it covers almost everything that you need in order to get started and in order to apply. I also had a very small and a very brief site specifically directed towards the application front when we started off. So this was done more for the government because they were asking that, okay, we would like to have the online presence of NSUT IF in terms of application as a formal procedure. So we had a very brief set of steps on what all you need to submit, what all you need to do at NSUT IF. Primarily, it consists of, submitting your presentations and submitting your plan. And also coming before the committee and sharing your ideas very succinctly, and also sharing your elevator pitch. So we'll discuss about elevator pitch when you guys apply, and we'll discuss about what are the kind of things you have to look on. But I'll like to keep this session more focused towards, I would say, learning skills. So this was just a bit of a tidbit, which I thought I should share with you so that, I mean, where all these skills are coming towards, I mean, you get an idea about that. So the next thing which I wish to discuss specifically in this session is a couple of projects which you guys asked. So one of the interesting questions that I received is that, I mean, how can we collaborate with bigger companies like Google or Apple and others? So I wish to share that, I mean, all these companies are collaborative and competitive at the same time. I mean, if you wish to collaborate with any bigger company, so you definitely have a variety of distribution methods. And I mean, all of you have a smartphone, right? I think every student who is applied to NSUT will have at least an Android phone or an iPhone. So one of the good ways to get started or bootstrap with trying to sell your software or even providing it for free in the EdTech area is by building up a mobile or a tablet app. And I thought I'll share with you one quick resource which will help you take your skills that you learned from W3C schools to the next level. Is probably Ionic Framework. So I'd like to share about Ionic Framework very briefly. So what Ionic Framework is, Ionic Framework is something which lets you write your software for both the Android operating system as well as the Apple operating system, which is the iOS operating system. Let me give you a very quick snapshot of what the architectural overview of this particular system is. So if you look at Ionic as a framework, so it basically has a middleware framework, which is called as Apache Cordova. You would learn about Apache Cordova when you try your hands with a variety of Apache software. And what it lets you do is that it enables you to access hardware APIs. It enables you to communicate with the hardware using that particular middle layer software. So that is Apache Cordova. On top of it, you have a variety of UI frameworks. So a lot of you even had questions that should we start learning React? I mean, React and all these skills will come a bit later. First, I would recommend that you start learning the basic JavaScript, HTML, and CSS on the front-end side. But if you look at Ionic, I mean, it builds on top of that. I mean, once you learn HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, the next step is that you need to learn TypeScript. And when you have covered up all these technologies, the best thing that you should be doing is that start learning the UI frameworks. So there are 3 UI frameworks, which I would like to mention over here. One is Angular. So Angular is an open source project which is maintained by Google. The second is React, which is an open source project which is maintained by the React community, started at Facebook. And third is Vue. Vue is a very interesting UI framework which was started in New York City by an American-Chinese developer. And we have a lot of companies who are using Vue for its wonderful, you can say, simplistic way of designing a UI or user interface. So I thought I'll share briefly about Ionic Framework. There are other frameworks also, which I would like to mention. One notably by Microsoft, the name is Xamarin. So Xamarin enables you to write your software not just for your Android phones and iPhones and iPads and Android tablets, but it also lets you do it for your watches and your wearable devices and even your smart television. So if you use Xamarin, so you can cover more devices in the embedded ecosystem as well. And it's again open source ecosystem, free of cost. You guys can definitely explore that. And this would enable you to kind of participate with the wider set of communities. So I'll come back to the next point, which I thought I should share over here, that what should be your starting point. So a lot of questions that we had was that how do we get started? So I think the first thing that you need to do is to really learn how software engineering is done in an open source way. And good places to start for learning collaborative open source are GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab. So you can create your open source accounts over here, and even SourceForge. I mean, SourceForge was an older one, but it's still widely used. So create your accounts over here and see what are the kind of projects you would like to learn and the kind of projects you would like to go through. So I'll just very quickly write down github.com so that if someone has not taken note of it, they can take a quick note of it and they can check out what all things we can learn from there. I'll also share with you one of the sites which I wish to recommend to you, which you should all be trying, which is the EtherCalc site by Audrey Tang. Audrey Tang is the digital IT minister at Taipei, Taiwan. And the interesting part is that she is considered to be one of the 10 programmers of the world who have shaped how we do programming in both functional aspect as well as in the object-oriented aspect. And Audrey Tang has written a wonderful open source software project, which I would like to share with everyone over here, which is EtherCalc. EtherCalc is an open source spreadsheet, which is very widely used and has a lot of applications on Amazon, Apple, Google, and even Barnes and Nobles, and also the older devices like BlackBerry, Nokia, and others. So you can see EtherCalc-based applications on multitude of devices. So I would like to share how EtherCalc looks. It looks like your traditional spreadsheet. Let me very quickly open that up so that you can get a sense of how it looks like very quickly. So I'm going to open up ethercalc.net. And when I click on ethercalc.net, you can see a spreadsheet with almost everything that you have in a traditional spreadsheet. So you have the format where you can set up the numbers, you can set up the text, so you can do a variety of text. You can even integrate Wikipedia over here. In fact, a couple of questions that we had was that I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer. This was one of the questions that was being asked to me. How do I contribute in open source? So I personally feel that writing technical articles and writing even localized language articles at Wikipedia is one of the best ways in the first, second, and third, and even final year to contribute in open source, because Wikipedia follows Creative Commons license. And if you share your articles over there, there's a wider community who will review your work, and you can learn a lot from Wikipedia, I mean, when you participate in it. There are a couple of other journals also which I like to mention. One is by Cornell University, which is arxiv.org. It's an open access journal. And I would really recommend you to check out arxiv.org, because there is one habit of reading research papers and also learning a lot from research papers that should be mustered right in your first year itself. So I would recommend you to check out arxiv.org. There are some of the sites which are specific to COVID-19 and even the wider medical space. So I would like you to even check out MedRxiv and BioRxiv. So these are the two other subsites where you can get a lot of good material on research, on development, and you can check out a whole bunch of materials and very nicely written papers and even ebooks from a lot of, you can say, the wider research community. The other thing which I would like you to do is to create a profile at researchgate.net. So if you are interested in doing research work in computer science or in any field in your research area as well, I would definitely like you to check out ResearchGate and create a profile on ResearchGate. And while you start publishing your papers, or even if you write a feedback paper or review paper, I think it will help you participate with a wider community. And you can find all of us on ResearchGate. I mean, there are tons of NSUT alumni at ResearchGate. So it will be very, very easy for you to collaborate with them in a more open and collaborative way. So these are some pointers, which I wish to share in reference to collaboration. Now, let me very quickly introduce you to some of the things that I have personally contributed towards in my own original work. So I would say some original contributions from my side, because I mean, the thing is that when you are talking about all these technologies, so one of the questions that comes to everyone's mind is that, I mean, sir, have you yourself used some of them? So absolutely, I have been using a whole bunch of open source technologies. And in fact, I have a company which is completely focused on open source project development in the field of education, healthcare, mobility, and even the, I would say, even the productivity space. So I'd like to share that with you guys. I'll also like to share about some of the open source projects which we recently did. One was with Google. So there we got a very good chance to collaborate on doing a drug discovery development platform with Blocktest and with Google. So they, in fact, we got a very good reward from them of a good number of Google credits, I mean, which was very helpful in training our AI and ML algorithms to the next level. So I'd like to share some of these things with you guys. So one is my site, which is Sita.in. The other is the EMTTR's project, which we basically, if you look at the vision of the project, so the EMTTR's project was essentially to build up a drug discovery platform where you could create a consensus between the pharmaceutical companies on one side and the contract research organizations on the other. And we did this solution in 2018-2019 timeframe with Blocktest. So Blocktest was like a performance partner, and it enabled us to create a platform where you can have the drug discovery being done in a structured way, in a method, you can say in a well-defined way, in an instructionist way, and also do it in such a way that it promotes scientific temper and a scientific attitude. So I'll share that link with you guys. I mean, it was something, so it was electronic medical trial and test records as a service. I mean, that's just the name of the, you can say, the service project that we had, but the main genesis of the project was more focused towards how we can enable drug discovery in a more decentralized way, using some of the decentralized technologies like Ethereum blockchain. So we did that. There's one more project which I like to share with you, which is electronic health records as a service. I did this particular project with some of the medical hospitals in, again, collaboration with, you can say, one of the organizations, namely Behold.ai, which is based out of Columbia Medical School, and also London. So there, what our focus was more towards looking at radiology images. So we all know that we're living in a COVID time frame, and there we have mostly lung infections and chest infections, all kinds of things are happening in this particular scenario. So what we did was we said that, okay, radiologists are under tremendous pressure. Let's try and reduce the pressure from radiologists. And the way we did that was we said that, okay, let's take up a whole bunch of X-ray images. The X-ray images have a format called as DICOM image format. So we took those images, we anonymized those images so that the medical records are not being shown for the AI and research purpose. And then we went, then what we did was we basically scanned them through an Orthanc PAC server, which is basically a picture archiving and communication server. So what we did was that we got these images scanned in an open source way, and we basically shared them over a server-to-server network. So what we did was we created a network which was both within the intranet domain as well as over the wider net domain. And then we basically shared these images for running our AI and ML models. And the outcome of this was that we were able to do abnormality detection and early stage prediction. My involvement was not that much on the AI and ML front because we had wonderful radiologists and researchers who were doing work on it. My focus was more towards building the technology and more towards, you can say, so in simple language, more towards the Python side of the world, more towards the API side of the world, more towards developing the server-based architecture, the full stack architecture. So those were the things where I was being focused on. I'm giving you this example because when you get started, you will first realize that, okay, when you're thinking of a problem, you have to take the obesity out of that problem. So you have to think in a very simplistic way. You have to see that, okay, these are the exact deliverables that I have to fulfill. And for fulfilling those deliverables, you have to work out a simple architecture and a simple solution. Over here, I like to mention one pointer, which I specifically noted down today. This was interestingly from some of the students at NSUT who are in their final year, and they are participating in a very interesting social network for coding called as Codeino. And they share wonderful documentation on how a project which has been written and which has been developed by open source enthusiasts should be structured. And I would like to share that document with you guys, and also, I mean, how you should go about it. So I'll very quickly shift to sharing that particular documentation. Just give me a second. Yeah, I have the report in front of me. So this particular report is more towards like, okay, if you get started and you are already in the process of working on an open source project, then how do you really create a structure or a report through which you can share with the wider community? So this is what they have mentioned, and interestingly, this is now being stamped by Google and even in fact being used by some of the Google open source communities like Google Summer of Code. So we have the overview of project, we have the expected deliverables, we have the contributions, we have the present status of the project, we have the challenges, learnings, and finally acknowledgements. And if you look at the different steps involved in it, so they shared about the overview of project. I'm just giving this as a case. Then after the overview of project, they focus on expected deliverables. They focus on contribution. So this is what I told you that, I mean, when you get started with GitHub, this will give you an understanding of how you can collaborate in an open source environment or even in a private environment with a whole bunch of developers. I mean, with your friends, with your team members, and you can try and execute some of the problems. So one quick example that I always give to students whenever I get a chance to interact with them is, guys, start using your own software. I mean, if you have to be a startup guy, and if you have to do your own startups, the first thing that you must do is that write your own code and solve your own problem. I mean, do not think about problems for others. First, try and solve your own problems. I mean, using your own software. So it could be as simple as writing an alarm clock application. I mean, make it predictive, use AI ML if you wish. I mean, if you don't wish to use it, fine enough. I mean, create an alarm clock application that you yourself can use. That will tell you how you think in terms of the user interface, how you think in terms of product features, how you think about the overall stack, and how you can actually execute it in a well-performed way. So that's the first thing. The second thing which I wish to share is that, I mean, along with doing an alarm clock application, everyone in this institute should at least have a basic to-do list for themselves. So they should create a very simple application using Ionic, which is like a to-do list application, which they themselves can use, so that they can organize their milestones, they can organize their activities, they can organize their priorities in a well-performed way. So these are like a couple of examples which I wish to share with you guys that you should focus on, I mean, when you are getting started. The other thing which I wish to share is that when you're participating in an open source project, which is not written by you, it can be a Linux kernel, which is maintained by Linus Torvalds, or it could be some other open source project, I mean, which is very well run. There are plenty of them. The whole server network that we have, I would say the massive telecom networks that we have, and even the massive server technology, that is both the web server, database server, and the app server technology that we have at the backend, they are all written in open source with good number of open source contributors. So the way you collaborate over there, I mean, there are very good examples that you can see on GitHub. You will learn how to share your contributions over there. And this is where I wish to share about the contribution section. I'll just very quickly, briefly touch on that. Okay, this is how they structured up the documentation, so that when you write your own documentation, you at least know that, okay, you share about the introduction of what you're trying to develop. Then you focus on the design, which is the system analysis and design stage. You can have your a set of diagrams which kind of establish the entity and relationship models, or a data flow model, or even a workflow for your software. Then you really focus on the implementation aspect. So you can focus a bit on what kind of implementation assumptions you have made, and what kind of implementation things you have done. And finally, you sum it up with the testing and the integration part, so that you can get this project to deployment stage. So this is, you can say, in an elevator pitch for software engineering, which I've just mentioned. So I'll now very quickly move on to some of the opportunities that are available for you guys, which you must consider in your first year itself. If you are coming from the programming background, and if you're not coming still, you must definitely consider if you wish to do a technical startup, because technical startup is actually being done by software engineers, I mean, who really wish to develop things, who like to crack things, or whoever design artistic flavor. I mean, I'm not trying to generalize that you have to be an excellent coder to do a technical startup. I mean, you can be a very good designer, you can be a mixture of very good business ethics, along with a good sense of, you can say, cost effectiveness in operations, along with, I would say, a good affinity towards technology. So you can keep these skills aligned. And before you do your startup, I mean, you should try and contribute in open source, because this will give you a flair of what actually exists and how do you really participate with a wider community. So there are two organizations which I like to share over here. One is Google Summer of Code, where I would like you guys to check it out. The applications for Google Summer of Code open up in March or in February. It's a fantastic opportunity for you not just to participate, but also create a sustainable method for yourself to contribute in open source over time. They give you a handsome scholarship, and it's a wonderful avenue for you to participate. There's one focus towards women candidates only, but it is, you can say, like the sister of Google Summer of Code. I'll call it like that. So it's Outreachy, and Outreachy is basically what I would say, it's focused towards the female candidates, but it's like the sister of Google Summer of Code, which means Google Summer of Code is open for both. You can say it's not gender biased, it's open for everyone. Outreachy is only focused for the female candidates, but it's a fantastic opportunity. It has almost all the well-defined open source projects that exist, and it has a wonderful set of mentors that you can get over here. So first thing when you are doing a startup is to have a good series of mentors and advisors to get you started. I think that's very, very important. If you are doing a tech startup, you absolutely need someone who can be there for you to review your code. If your code is not getting reviewed and you're doing one, you can say, code push after the other on GitHub, I mean, what it basically leads to is that you will learn. It's not that you will not learn, but with a mentor, you will get that experience. And there is absolutely no replacement of experience. I mean, when it comes to someone with a programming experience, they can give you the insights and the pointers that you need when you get connected. I wish to share that when I did my startup, starting in 2010 or 2011, after working in the industry for a good number of years, what I realized is that without a good advisor or a good mentor, I was just staying at the prototype stage. So I was creating wonderful prototypes, but not going from the prototype stage to the production stage. And although I had worked in the industry, but I required someone's blessing and someone's advice to get started in terms of the technical architecture and the technical review. So this is very, very important to create a panel of advisors for yourself, to create a board of advisors who can advise you timely and precisely, and who can keep you focused. So focus is a lot about saying no. So focus, when you start focusing on technology-based roles, when you start focusing on, you can say, programming-based projects, so you have to say no to a lot of other things that are happening. And I'm not saying that you should be a rebel, but measured rebelliousness is very, very important if you're planning to do a startup. The second thing is you absolutely have to be articulate in what is the problem you're trying to solve and how you're going to solve that particular problem. If you don't think on your feet that this is the way you'll be solving this problem in a more cost-effective way than how others are solving, then basically you'll be more like a Me Too startup. And there's no dearth of Me Too startups. I mean, you can get some money, which might be very difficult now in the pandemic scenario, but you can get some money and you can get started, but you will not get that, you can say, that special feeling of sustaining that startup when setbacks come in. And setbacks come in good numbers when you're doing a startup. So these are some startup 101 resources which I thought I will share with you guys, which will enable you to get started. And if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, you like to share some pointers, feedback to me, I'm happy to collaborate, to learn from you guys. And we really look forward to you at the Incubation Center. I mean, if you plan to apply for a startup and if you have your panel of investors, wonderful. I mean, you can still collaborate with the NSUT Incubation Center. I mean, we really look forward to seeing you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manushir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity. Sorry, I was speaking quite a lot. So yeah, I just took a gasp.
No, it was really good. It was quite informative, actually. Dheeraj, are you here? Okay.
That might be in a meeting, ma'am. He might have.
All right. So we'll move towards the closing of the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for joining, everybody. Tomorrow we meet here again at 2 p.m. For another session that you will be informed about via mail. Yeah, I'm so sorry. We'll meet again on Monday. That is the 14th of December. So 12th and 13th is an off for you. No more sessions on 12th and 13th. So 14th we meet here again at 2 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manushir. Kushil sir, you can close the live session.